Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I am your host, Monty Brown. I am joined with none other than the lads. We have Paul Boston,
Hey, hey, how y'all doing?
and we have Haley. He big
I
tired.
like that he waited and timed that perfectly.
Perfect timing.
You,
All right,
dude,
he
real
big
quick,
tired.
you did that earlier, Pele. We were in the car, and I had just drank something down, and I burped, and it was almost like Pele, like right after I burped, just opened his mouth, and it was like, oh, ah. It's like, all
It's
right,
so unfortunate.
that's good little synchronicity.
Is it good? Does that count as good? How would you consider it, Haley? Is that what you consider good?
Uh, Synchronicity with me comes at random points. I remember this weird argument conversation that I had with a classmate back in middle school where he and I literally said the same words for like a good 3 sentences. Somehow.
Jeez.
We understood the same subject and same response was out of our mouths like, what the fuck was that? I think for me, I have a weird sync ability with some random situations where I expect the same outcome out of every single time and expect and say in sync with another person exactly like what the hell? I thought this only happened in shows.
3 sentences straight is a long time to be in sync with somebody. Like just to
I
be saying the same thing.
Yep, like what the
Uh,
fuck? Why did I sync up with this guy? I'm nothing like him.
I
You're like,
want
what
to
the
give you
hell?
guys a heads up. And I don't care if this is on the episode or not. If I end up losing my recording, I apologize. But it is storming, and we lose power here once in a
Um,
while. So we'll see
Yeah,
what
true.
happens. But I'm confident it won't be that bad. But I just want to give that announcement.
yeah, I
I
did
think
see
that's fair.
some yellow lightning happen around the area. I was driving
I
across
just
the
saw
Yellow
street.
white, and I
lightning.
thought somebody was like taking pictures of my house for half a second. I don't know why I thought that, but you
Someone could have got a Go Puff order. Got the quick
yeah,
pick.
exactly.
And suddenly you hear thunder and you're like, nah, it was God.
It wasn't the family laughing at him. It was God. It's a Family Guy reference.
Okay.
So,
But
how have you guys been?
been all right, man.
Alright.
Working alright. I'm losing sleep. Had a bit of a rough day prior. My dog woke me the fuck up in the middle of the night. So I was working a 10-hour, 11-hour shift on like 3 hours of sleep.
Oh, damn.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Been
so
there.
that night we were playing D&D Amati, I was suffering.
Oh, yeah, no, I understood. I was like, look, we're finished. Go ahead. You're good.
Yep,
You
and I
can
went to
go.
immediately pass out. Yep.
Oh, yeah, that was a fun one, though.
hmm
I had to fuck with Pele. He's not prepared for what I have
No,
to
I
say.
wasn't, both mentally and otherwise.
Which makes sense because this character spent a lot of time just staring off, confused or like shook. So it's
Mm.
like I kind of understand the reaction to some of it a little bit more now. It's just like, and his reaction is he was like, "Nah, it's the same. It's just more of the same." I'm like, as little brain power as necessary to deal,
Yeah.
and it worked. It worked. It worked for the situation that was happening. It's like, nah, he's just that shook.
There you go, man.
Yep. For a little tidbit, for our D&D session, it's a homebrew game that Monty's currently running with us and a bunch of our friends. And my character, well, in short, it's our version of a barbarian. I have no magic. I just mainly use weapons, but I am, by and large, probably the strongest player character in our group.
Facts. As there's like one NPC that is physically stronger than you, and then like
I said player character. I am by and large the
yeah, no.
strongest.
But as
Yeah.
far as player characters go, that is like it. No, and like I think Leon rivals you in strength with finesse, and
hmm
that's like it.
I've done incredibly boisterous things as my character uh, tends to do by ripping the spines out of two ninjas and using them as baseball bats against other ninjas, and
Facts.
Okay.
We
pretty
did do
much
that at one point.
punching a full-on battleship um, and causing it to jump through the water like a skipping rock while my crew is on it.
And this is in the current one that y'all are about to do.
No, 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 no.
Oh,
The one
not it.
before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the sci-fi. Well, I was gonna say, how
Yeah.
the hell does this happen in the Cthulhu
Oh no,
one?
no,
Oh
not the
no, that
Cthulhu
does
one.
not happen in that.
I have not. I'm not that crazy in Cthulhu. I'm alive, though. I will say this: I do have an unfortunate tendency to always have a body count, no matter what game I play. I I haven't been actively trying to kill anybody yet in
Oh yeah, no, that's hilarious.
Lovecraft when I still have a body count. What the fuck?
Yeah, in Twin Skies, which I mean we said it multiple times, it's the Lovecraftian one, where they're playing as like normal human beings. Pele actually chose a character that is a pacifist, more so, and a coward, more so than anything else, and
I still have a body
somehow
count.
has managed to kill people, and he's like, bro,
I'm cowering
how?"
behind a box while I'm getting shot at. I throw a random piece of sharp metal in a direction. I roll a nat 20 and I kill somebody.
Oh my god.
He's just like, why? He's just shook
Like,
up.
come on!
The character's immediately shook it up from the fact that he just murdered someone. He's like, why?
Not
Why
10
is
minutes
this
into your
like
game
this?
there, and you've already broken your character's mind. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Gotta love it.
The idea of having a pacifist who accidentally murders people is actually quite
I was
funny.
trying to be just a support character. What the
I'm
fuck?
so sorry. He's like, don't apologize to the enemy. I'm so sorry.
No matter how much you try to run from it, you're always going to be a killer. Embrace your hate. No.
The
I'll embrace
exact
it in the
opposite
next
of his
D&D
character.
game.
This is the one that Paul gets to join in soon, though, so that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it won't be tonight. I want to listen to it tonight, though.
That's fair. Yeah, no, this is also gonna be kind of a short episode because we're on a time crunch, and we have people that are gonna be waiting on us for us to play it. And considering that I am the DM, it is real difficult to play without that guy.
Yeah. Are we
Yeah.
going till 10:30, by the way?
Yeah, 10:30.
Okay.
Just give it a little extra time to do this podcast episode and move on to the
Yeah.
next. Yeah.
But yeah, no, this one will be a lot shorter. But admittedly, we're probably gonna be doing shorter episodes in general from like going forward. Not this short, but shorter.
Gaming news
Relatively
has been a
shorter.
little bit slower, right?
It is a
Well,
little bit slower. It's coming
It's
up.
Yeah, it's showing
on
up. The
time.
big show's coming up soon. Not E3 because E3 is canceled, but the Microsoft's own, Sony's own, and Nintendo is going to probably do a direct a few months down the line. Since I know
Yeah.
they just did one a couple months ago. So. Oh yeah, and if the big publishers are going to do anything, we might see other presentations
Yeah,
along with
we'll
that.
probably see a decent amount of presentations.
EA, Activision, all that such.
Ubisoft needs to do something about theirs.
Yep.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, another announcement: Skull and Bones. Yay!
Yay, Skull and Bones. The thing. that still doesn't
I
exist.
think that game's gonna play okay, but it's not gonna be nearly worth the wait. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
It
Oh no,
should.
absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's one of those games that should just work considering how they make video games, right? And I genuinely think that the reason why it's not out yet is because they can't apply the UB formula directly to that game,
which
like
is
they
the
can
open
with other
world loot fest, super
games. With
long-winded.
like a bunch of different tasks.
Yeah. Microtransaction. Actually, no, never mind. It's multiplayer, so it's definitely microtransaction heavy.
But like they can't like just copy paste, and because they can't just copy paste, it's like actually
Which is actually kind of hilarious because they kind of sort of did that with the original concept of this, which was in Assassin's Creed 3 and 4.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, it's literally because they can't put a tower. They're like, how do we do eagle? Like, how do we do the eagle towers?
Sail, motherfucker! AWOL Nation's been screaming at you for years about
He's
that.
like, they're just looking at the screen. It's like, how do I get them to discover more of the map when they're on a boat 90% of the time?
Sail!
It's just water.
Literally just sail! You don't need to swim, just sail! Let's make it
bro,
big
it's
now.
a simple answer. Sail. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
And like just looking at it, being like, how do we make this remotely? Yo, I have no idea how we're supposed to put 1,000 feathers in flat water. How are we hiding these? I don't understand. They just
I
can't.
feel like the behind the
That's
scenes is actually it's probably a sad story and like the
I'm
developers
sure it
will
is.
still play
It's actually one of those development cycles because I want to know what the fuck has happened with this game. Because anything that's like this tumultuous or this long, I want to know what went behind the scenes on this one.
And considering, because we looked it up, Billy, it's by the same people that did the original, like that made it originally.
I know,
It's
but
even
why
more
is it
baffling
taking
as to
so
why it's taking
long?
so
Well,
long.
that's-
Theoretically, it could be good.
Theoretically,
I mean,
it
it
could be
should
good.
be,
and
because
we're
it's
hoping
made by the
it's
original
good.
people,
but
but it's
after
just like-
6 years and multiple delays, I'm getting worse and worse feelings about
Skull
it.
and Bones is the type of game that's like, oh yeah, this will come out in a year and this should be a slam dunk, and then it's like, yeah, no, it's still not out.
4
You're like,
years
why?
later, and it's still not out.
Like I was expecting it to come out in like a year or two, right? You know what I mean? It's like, it's Ubisoft. They'll probably crank that out by like the end of the year. It'll be fine, right? And it's like, you're kind of like, well, okay, that's another one on the chopping block, pretty much. And now we're looking at it being like, it's crazy that like this isn't out yet. It's really weird. Like you go to think about it, and you're like, that isn't out, is it?
Yeah, and here's the thing: I was like, usually I'm okay with delays, but this amount of delays in a short period of time for a game that shouldn't be this complicated from the looks of it makes me worried now. Like, what the fuck has been going on with it?
It's also one of those games that have the Mandela effect, where it's just like, if you ask people if they ever played Skull and Bones, they probably would have thought that it was already out, and then you're like, yeah, no, it's still not out, and they're like, really?
I mean,
really?
the same case was for Dead Island 2 for the longest time for me, because honestly, the game had changed 4 developer hands before it finally released earlier this year. Well, literally a month ago, and I thought it was already
did a
up.
Good job.
Some good reviews to it, some middling, of course.
Like from what I've seen is like with Dead Island 2, they didn't take any like major risks, which ended up being kind of sad, but also it ensured it was a direct sequel, and it ended up working.
Sequel, but it's like better in every way than the previous game, but like it's not as good as the ones that exist currently.
It's technically more impressive, mainly because the flush system is a lot more engaging. Seeing how zombies pretty much break apart as you attack them, and like that's cool and everything.
It's more
gameplay
engaging.
It's more engaging, I guess, to a degree. And there's also the zombie abilities, which is fun. But
it's actually fun to fight things apparently now.
Yeah, but the story and the bosses are laughable at best. Like it's not really much there. So like, in terms of comparison from the developers of the first Dead Island, Techland, who's currently making Dying Light, in terms of quality, not really much there. After 4 developers and over 6 years of development time, I'm not surprised. Honestly, I'm impressed with what they've done in a short amount of time after changing 3 other hands. But still.
I don't know. I also feel like I understand why there's the comparison to Dead Islands, because the original developers just made another game and that's what they made, right?
Yep.
I mean, I shouldn't say Dead Island.
Dying Light.
The comparison to Dying Light.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I kind of look at it and kind of go like, it's almost not fair, because those are two different. If you look at the original Dead Island, it's like these are two different styles of like combat. Like one's involving you doing crazy parkour and drop kicks off the top of buildings to attack zombies, while the other one is like a bit more grounded and they focus more on like a bit more on the wacky weapons, but not as much as like obviously like
but it's a comparison like this existing of that type of similar genre, because people did the same for what was it, Thief and Dishonored when it first came out. Both sneaky stealth assassin games, even though Thief was not really assassinating, you just pretty much sneak around and steal things.
Yeah, Thief is specifically a thief.
Thief was
like,
petty.
You are supposed to be.
You were a petty thief, bro.
Literally.
But that
Look
is,
at
I
these
guess,
spoons.
that's the deal with it, right?
Another one would be like Battleborn and Overwatch, because they came out roughly at the same time. Not the same game at all, but people.
Yeah, no. Once you play both of them, you're like, these are very two different games. But for some reason, they were competing against each other, and it's like one's just actually
Overwatch.
MOBA.
Yeah, Overwatch won out of that one because Battleborn got gone.
Oh yeah, it got dumped
Battleborn
on.
actually looks pretty solid too.
It's pretty solid.
Genuinely, no. Battleborn is good. Like, there's nothing wrong with Battleborn. It just got outclassed. Like, that's just it. It got compared to a game that wasn't the same kind of game off rip.
But the art, yeah.
Got like on top of that, that game was like the juggernaut it was. Like, it's Overwatch. Overwatch still exists. Overwatch 2 exists. Like, people like that game, and despite like everything that Blizzard's been doing, people are still playing that game. So it's one of those things. I mean, now it's free, so now it's even easier to play now. But it's like that. I feel bad. I super feel bad for Battleborn, because I actually thought that it was really fun. I actually found myself really enjoying it, and it made me realize that I can only play MOBAs if it's mixed with another genre.
It is an unfortunate aspect, and the comparisons are definitely not fair. But that is unfortunately the market reaction to it, especially with players.
The name of the game.
Yeah, literally, and plus, especially if you're doing it off rip and you don't really investigate yourself as due diligence, and you're just gonna make the comparison off the bat. Like, what's the difference between this? Like, is a shooter here? Is a shooter there? Oh, like this one's fun. Let's do this instead of Battleborn. Like, okay, you're not even gonna give it a shot.
Yeah.
Oh well. But anyway, I guess we should start off with our weeks, shall we not?
Oh yeah, for
Go
sure.
before me, both of y'all.
All
Okay.
right.
So
Monty, want to go first?
yeah, mine's pretty short.
There.
Okay. So, um, pretty much what I've been messing around with is three main things. I played I played a game called Arto. That was kind of fun. I picked it up a while ago. Um, Basically, it is essentially you are a girl with the powers of like a color sword. Like you literally have like a paint sword, right? And you're returning color back to a black and white world. Um, and this is bestowed upon you by some type of hand paint god,
Hmm.
and it's kind of cool. Like you're fighting these machines that are basically sucking the life out of everything around it and thus the color. And when you fight
Okay.
some of them, the art style will change dramatically. Um, as you move around, especially after a certain point in the game, you initially it starts off with like you attacking enemies, and like when they explode, you add color to that area, and then
Hmm.
it becomes there's an enemy type that you fight that's actually really cool, where it just changes the entire like arena into like this comic book style looking like area, like color pops. It has like the dotted effect, like classic comics.
Hmm.
Um, and then on top of that, as you just go through it, then you start like being able to do things like when you jump and move around and run, you just leave like the proper color trail for what's happening, right? Um, I think it's pretty cool. It's an isometric action game, right? It's a hack and slash. So it's not completely top down. They got some dynamic like camera angles and stuff like that that you're doing with it. But from what I was feeling, like basically you have your X to attack, O to parry, and then you have unblockables. It's simple but like effective is the best way I can
Hmm.
describe it. While putting in various interesting enemy types. I haven't gotten super far, but I'm like I kind of it's one of those games that I like saw off rip. It was on sale not too long ago when it first dropped, and I kind of just looked at it, was staring at it. I think it happened to pop up a little stream so that you could see some more gameplay, and like fell in love almost instantly. I'm like, all right, I give this a shot. This looks kind of fun. And I gotta say, I actually like thoroughly enjoyed it so far. So I would recommend giving that a look sees because like it works. Like it works really well. And if you like that kind of stuff, you like those kind of like interesting aesthetics, like it does. Like I said, it decides to just change art styles here and there just because. And it's cool because of it. Like I think there was like a mouth that I had like talked to, and like after dealing with it, it became like another different type of color palette for a while, and I
Hmm.
was like, oh, that's kind of sick, and you get to see like how crazy different shading and stuff like that can change how like something looks. So like I was running through an area that I had seen before, but like in the comic filter, and then it switched to the other one. I'm like, this is not even the same kind of look, and it looks even more different from like when it's
Hmm.
black and white, right? So kind of cool. Um, Another game I was checking out. Actually, I guess there's more. Because we got to play a chance to play River City Girls too. Um, Me, Pele, Wolf, and Jones were messing around with that. That's fun. It's super fun. Beat 'em up RPG that's happening. Um,
Hmm.
you guys played the original one. It's more of the same, but with more characters, and it's a bit smoother. I would say. I don't know
Mhm.
about you, Pele, when you were playing. I
Yes,
felt a
it
bit
isn't.
smoother
It
there.
isn't seat smoother, and you actually can attack enemies besides stomping on them with it. So I actually can use the bodies I pick up on it and continually attack enemies while they're still on the ground. Like yes, I can kill them quicker. It feels like you can go through. You can mow through enemies a lot faster in this one than the previous one,
Yeah,
which is a
but
nice
it's
change
just
of pace. Yeah.
it is. Plus, with the way it's set up, it's just kind of fun. Like it's we notice just how much love and care is putting into this one. And I'm pretty sure it's is it treasure or tribute? I think it's tribute that's doing it, right? I'm not sure. I have to check. I know Arc, or maybe it's Arc System. I know I can't remember who made River City Girls 2. Oh, the first one I should say. River City
Arc System
Girls.
Works as the publisher. The developer is Way Forward.
Way Forward. That's the one. I was trying to remember who did it,
Hmm.
and there's like three. There's three specific um like if you're doing something with sprites, you got it. Well, it's like four because Yacht Club is in there too. But if you're doing something with sprites, they usually got like they got a lock on it. It's Way Forward is one of them because they made like the Shantae games and all of
Hmm.
those, right? Um, Tribute is another one they did. Turtles in Time and Mercenary Kings and the Scott Pilgrim game. And I'm trying to remember who the
Oh,
other
that
one
explains a
is.
lot. That WayForward also did the Mummy Demastered game and Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Yep. Obviously, I was mentioning Yacht Club before because that's Shovel Knight, but I cannot remember what the other one was. But like
Oh
those,
yeah,
usually if you hear those names, it's
WayForward
probably
also
gonna be a banger of a
did.
game.
Yeah, WayForward's doing the Advanced Wars 1 and 2 reboot camp, and
Yeah,
they also did the 2D Blood Rain games.
yeah, no, yeah. They Way Forward does really good 2D animation when they, not even when they put their mind to it. Actually, every game that they've made is usually pretty solid.
Hmm.
Like I can't think of. They might have something in there that's not great, but I feel like every
It's usually their early
company
stuff
has
because
something. Yeah.
early development studios they don't name one development studios like make classic after classic after classic off rip. That's impossible.
Hmm.
Let's see here. They made the original Shantae back in 2002. That's an old ass franchise.
That's a good
Uh,
game though, right? I've heard.
mhm. The Shantae series is great. Let's see here. They made a bunch of like Game Boy and mobile titles for a long time. Oh, okay, that's the first game I remember them actually. I played from them. Amani, do you remember an old game called Lit? Lit.
No, I can't say I do.
It was originally made for the Wii, where you actually had to navigate through a haunted school where darkness has consumed people. You had to use light to pretty much navigate through the shadowed places around the area, fight possessed teachers to get your girlfriend inside the school.
That sounds really cool.
Hmm.
Let me see if I can look that one up. Light. Is it spelled in any way?
Nope,
Any
Lit, capitalized Lit, lit.
lit. Lit game. Yeah, no, this is gonna be okay. There it is. I was about to say this is gonna be difficult to actually find because I said lit game, and I'm like, this is gonna be. But no, no, it actually came up pretty fast. Oh, it reminds me of This is not 2D at all, but it reminds me
It's
of
3D, yeah.
what's it called? Not Resident Evil. Well, I guess a little bit Resident Evil, but more so Silent Hill, with the way it is. It's cool. It's actually really. I might want to go back and play this. Honestly,
It's available now on iOS. I don't think anymore because it's about 8 years old at this point. But you can probably find it on Steam.
fair enough. It's kind of fun. Yeah, no, I might. Yeah, it literally has it on Steam, so I might actually go check this out
Hmm.
just because it's got a 7, which means it's not bad. Well, Steam has an 8.
It's a warrior. It's a WarioWare. It's a WiiWare game originally, so it's an indie project that showed up on the Wii shop, which is incredibly hard to pick up the gems out of there.
Mm. Nah, yeah, nah. I definitely gotta give this a shot. I like how this looks, and so like I'm kind of down for like what's happening on this as far as like gameplay wise. Um, but besides that, I played. Okay, so I remember. I've been continuing on the Well Ends with You. Like I said,
Hmm.
that's still going strong. I'm pretty confident. I'm almost done, unless the game pulls the rug from under me again.
Hmm.
But like, it seems like we're wrapping up because
Okay.
I put enough work in, and I
And
feel
this is
like
the
we're
first
about to
one,
be.
right? Not Neo.
This is the second one. This is the second one. This is Neo.
Oh, the second one. Okay.
Because I know the plot for the first one. The first one pulls the rug from under you like 3 times, like just straight up. It's like, yeah, no, you're done. No, you're not.
Hmm.
Go again. Do it again. um,
Excuse me.
but like this one is basically I can describe the. It's weird to explain because the two games, their story and like how things play out operates little differently. But originally in the first game, as you go through the Reaper game lasts a week, and then it starts over. So this is like it starts over, but like
Right.
it's supposed to be a completely different experience. So like and I guess spoilers for the first one, that you should still go play. It's really good, but every time you finish a Reaper game, there was an idea that it was actually going to end, and then it flips, right? Like something happens or something there's something that you have to do that causes it to continue a little bit further, and you have to go through another week. In this one, that's not really a spoiler, but like the game plays differently in Neo, where it is teams against each other. So like each week a team is eliminated and like erased, and as you're going, you're kind of watching them kind of disappear and dwindle down essentially. So we're down to like where I'm at in the game. You're pretty much down to the last two teams, which is your team and one of the it's your team. It's three teams. My bad. You're down to the last three teams, but with the way the plot is working out, it's like this gotta be it, right? Like 'cause we've pretty much entered like sudden death territory. So that means like maybe two teams gotta go, maybe one team's gotta go, but like whatever it's gonna be, it's this should be the last bit. Um, Whereas in the first game, it's just kind of like we ain't done yet. We gotta keep going. um, but I'm gonna try to avoid, like I said, spoilers for that. I highly recommend going and play both of those games. Like, um, you probably should have. Yeah, I don't. It's one of those games where it's like I don't really think you need to play the first one to play the second one. It's not required information, but like it helps. Kind of like how Nier is, where you don't have to play the first Nier, like Replicant and Gestalt. You don't have to play Replicant and Gestalt
I mean,
to
you also technically don't have
understand
to play
Automata.
Drakengard 2 to understand near either.
Yeah, no, like that's the idea. Like you don't actually have to go play those, but like there's stuff that pops out to you extra hard in both in the sequel, obviously, because you played the first one. So, for instance, like in Nier, the some of the robots are wearing like the outfits from I can't remember their names. It's gonna bother me, but from one of the civilizations that exist in Nier Replicant and Gestalt, essentially. I think they're from the city of Facade, pretty much. And when you're fighting them in the desert, they have the stuff, the garbs on. The robots have the garbs of those people on, and if you knew about it, you're like, oh shit, that's kind of cool. Like, there's no reason for them to be doing that, but it's cool. Um, for this one, it's just like, yeah, no, you don't need it, but certain characters and things like that will pop up, and you're like, I know you. You're from the first game. What's good? Like, it's a familiar face to you, but to the characters in the game, they're like, like you talk to me. I have no idea what your story is. um, but that's still super fun. I'm really enjoying going through that. I'm almost done,
All right, I'm back.
and I
Apologies.
messed
Apologies.
around with Astral Chain. Just went back to it just to play. Nothing too much to say there. It's still a great game. I has a really heavy learning curve because the moment I touched the game again and was like, how do I play this? I was getting my ass whooped, and I'm like, yeah, no, I need to go back to look at tutorials and stuff to remember how to do this because this is it. Astral Chain asks a lot of you, so that's still fun though. Still one of my favorite platinum games. Genuinely, like it's up there. Um, Playing wise, I think that's it. But I've been really reading this webtoon called Just a Goblin. Got into it through the art style and I really liked it, but like I didn't get a chance to talk about it yet. So the deal with Just a Goblin is, and I'll make this real quick. Deal with Just a Goblin is we're in a fantasy world where we're following our friend Nob. Nog is his name, right? He's a really smart goblin, can make stuff, right? Looks at the world, is kind of like, yo, why do humans hunt us? This shit is kind of fucked up. All the while, there are something's happening in the background. So basically, adventurers are coming in and slaughtering goblins at like the dozens and the hundreds, and doing their thing. And goblins. Nog is just like, I don't get it. Like, why do they do this to us? And he's like, sure, we reproduce, but why? So he wants to ask these questions. He wants to search for those answers, and the goblin tribe is like, nah, man, we're just gonna let's throw our numbers at them in like droves. Hopefully, we'll just eventually beat them if we just keep throwing ourselves at them.
Which
Watch
never
this.
works.
Watch this be the unofficial spin-off to Goblin Slayer.
It's like in the opposite direction, technically speaking.
It's like The Office almost, but goblins.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes me think of that.
But so Nog is just like, you know what? I'm gonna go find out. I'm gonna be an adventurer. Him and his pal set off to like disguise themselves as adventurers and infiltrate their central headquarters, all of human society, just to find out what is the deal. Like, why do you attack us the way they do? Along doing so, they try to interrogate like an adventurer, and they accidentally kill that adventurer while interrogating him.
Mm.
There was Nog goes to give like a threat, and his friend, I believe her name is Pebble or Peggle, um,
It's adorable.
accidentally drops him into the spikes that they were holding, and
Hmm.
so homie gets murked. And Nog's like, "Why did you do that? We had questions." And he's like, "I thought you said to let him go." And he's like, "I was bluffing. We needed answers." um, but that player apparently had a ghost that pops up and pretty much gives him the ability to level up. Like it shows it becomes like that kind of video game kind of thing. But
Mm-hmm.
Nog's the only one that can use it, and it's one of those things where it's like there are other characters that have it, but not every human can do that, right? Like not every adventurer that's out here can like do this level up thing, but there are other people that can, and that's important to know. So it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like it lets him see the stats of people, and the way it's explained is really cool because it's like, yeah, no, you can raise your stats by doing like pure practice work and doing things, right? Like if you read a bunch of books, that's the old-fashioned way of like doing it, and you'll
Mm-hmm.
gain stats. So like his friend, he looks over and he's like got like 12, like a 12 in strength. And he's like, why is she so strong? He's like, she works out, she's athletic, she does things, right? And he's like, the other way is if you level up, right, for him because he has this little ghost, he could put those stats into those attributes. But they kind of pretty much say it's like both work. If you train and get better at doing things, then you will like earn points in those stats, and if you level up, you will earn point. Like you could put them wherever you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like just keep in mind that there's that balance. And so it's like okay, that's kind of fun. While all the while he's trying to keep, once they do this, they finally infiltrate and trying to keep his disguise, and both of them trying to make sure that no one knows that they're goblins, but trying to figure out what's up,
Excuse
what's the deal with all these adventurers, and why
me.
there's
Mm-hmm.
this vitriol against them. Essentially, like they're like, why do we gotta get slaughtered by the dozens for no reason? Like no, like they just take our ears and stupid shit. Like I don't get it.
Leave my ears alone, please.
It's like, I don't think you need to kill us for it. We're just chilling. And ultimately, their goal is to kind of broker a peace between like humans and goblins, because they're like, this. You'd be surprised we're more in common than you think, right? So it's kind of fun in that way. It's got some really cool art, really cool action. Like, by all means, give it a shot. Like, go look at it. I'll probably put a tweet up for it. But I think that's it for me. So, what about you, Taylor?
For me, not too much. Focused mainly on work recently. Played. Oh yes, I've been playing a lot of Jedi Survivor. Continue playing that. I'm enjoying it, but the game is also still pissing me off.
Okay.
Yeah. So, in short review, though I know I probably won't be the greatest example for it, but my opinion of it, I do enjoy the game. Game's long, it's explorative, pretty cool. Bit janky in certain structures. It's crashed on me several times, so processing even on PS5 still needs some work. Story surprisingly light, which
Mm.
is
Which is weird for that
yeah,
game.
for a
I feel.
Star Wars game of this sort, because like, okay, for me, I guess, in terms of casing, because I can't really spoil it. It just feels like there's not really much character growth. I get the idea of maybe reflectiveness in certain, like the heroes and the villains and all that such. It just doesn't grab me. It really just doesn't. Like,
Mm.
it just feels like this feels a bit shoehorned through like not the characters. I'd say like not fully shoehorned, but like it doesn't feel like it should affect Cal as growing as a Jedi and a person as much. Like, and the motivations for some of the characters, especially like fall to the dark side or this and that. Like, I feel like there should have been more than just this weird obsession. Like,
Mm-hmm.
huh? I get for like this quote unquote final boss, but it just doesn't feel. I don't know. It doesn't feel as engaging as I expected it to be in terms of story. Like, this should have been better, but I hopefully they can expand it down the road. I just feel like they kind of had to skip a beat. Though like everything gameplay wise is fine. The story is just like a little lackluster. Like, well, that's a bit of a shame. Acting's still pretty good though, so I
Oh,
don't mind
Mm.
that much. Gameplay is fun. Combat surprisingly brutal. Cal just rushing and murdering people in cold blood swiftly too. Like you know how in like original prequels, Obi-Wan, if once he gets the hang of it, he just pretty much cuts you down and never it doesn't even look back.
Oh damn.
Cal kind of has learned to do that a bit too.
Fair enough. He's like, I got really good at just not caring.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and you asked me before about the blaster stance, the forbidden stance of the Jedi. It's still fun because I can just pretty much slash somebody. They come charging me with a stun baton. I pull out my gun. Bam. This Indiana Jones his ass to death. Like, yep. But
That's kind of
after,
perfect.
yep. After the fifth time it crashed, like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to take a break from this game because I don't want my PS5 to break. So I moved on and played a little bit of Wo Long as well. I can definitely see the parry system in that game. It is surprisingly easy in parts. I'm currently stuck on my first, like, quote-unquote boss with it, like this big sloth, long arm, monkey thing.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get the parry down on that one because you have to pretty much move your left stick towards the direction the enemy is attacking you with while it's doing the parry movement, and you're able to deflect it through it. It's just that some of the wind-up's a little longer than you anticipated, so I gotta gauge that a little bit better. I die multiple times to them, but it's actually not that difficult of a game. Basic enemies also pretty easy. You still do the basic Neo stuff, like items you pick off the ground, you level them up, craft them, armors. You have magic spells this time, so it pulls a bit of a Witcher aspect to it. But it's still level selection based, so you're not exploring a whole world or open world or anything like that, but you're still selecting a mission, go to that mission, run through the stage, bada bing, bada boom, there you go. And the story this time is not based off Japanese lore, it's based off the Three Kingdoms, which is Chinese mythology. I see some classic Chinese generals, Zhao Yao, Zhao Yaon, and Lu Bu and all that such.
I'll say this, man. I don't know what engine they're using, but like Neo 1, 2, and that game have like brutal amounts of difficulty on the screen that it's hard to see, but it's so freaking gorgeous.
The funny thing is because technically they're both Souls-like, both Survivor and Wo Long. It runs a lot smoother on Wo Long. Survivor, even on okay, if I'm in the water and I'm getting attacked, it slugs down to sub 10 frames.
I do feel like it's really weird that Wo Long is still kind of like it's like not as hard.
It's not,
If that makes any
surprisingly.
sense. I've
Like,
heard that
there's
it's
no difficulty slide
surprisingly
either,
easy.
so, like, it's just easy to pick up. I'm just trying to get the grasp on the parry thing. Like, when it comes to regular enemies, it's easier to grasp because it's a little quicker, but the boss enemies, because they have a big wind-up, I don't know when the strike starts to happen, so I can deflect it in time.
So I guess I'll ask this because you actually got a chance to touch it and they haven't allowed me to, because they haven't fixed the PC version.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that it's just the Neo version of Sekiro? Just genuinely? Because a lot of people kind of said that.
Yeah, it's the parry system, yes. The verticality, no.
Okay.
You do have spells and such like that, so but you're not pretty much like line swinging across from point to point, so it's not have that aeriosity, anything like that, and big open strike abilities that Sekiro has. It doesn't have that big scale to it, but it still feels fun. It feels faster and more damaging for it because I'm using the pole arm for my character with some saboteur ability, so put support on like armor, healing, all that such. I can throw a fireball if I want to, ice shard and all that such, but I'm just building it up bit by bit. Yeah, and it's a classic Neo fashion. I can pick up items. I can look up for locations. They give you a gauge of what's of collectibles in the map as you're playing it, so it's easier to find things. Well, not easier, but it keeps track of all the things in this level, so this way you can just go through the end of it and find what you're missing. So it's a little easier to collect than the previous Neo games, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know, though.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying it. I'm still surprised that it runs significantly better than Jedi Survivor. Like, I guess because they don't have to compress and program their games a little bit smaller, so it's easier to play. Jedi Survivor, Wo Long is about 38 gigs. Jedi Survivor is 155 gigs.
Bruh.
Jesus Christ. Why is that
and you
game
said
so...
that,
and it's a single-player game, so, like, yeah. Huh?
And you said Wo Long runs better?
Wo Long runs better because I can actually deal with multiple enemies, and the frame rate doesn't drop down. Let's see here. I'm wrong. 45 gigs for Wo Long. Yep, still 155 gigs for Jedi Survivor. And multiple enemies, the screen frame rate doesn't dip down, and if the environment I'm in is actually starting to attack me itself, where if I'm in water and enemies in water, it drops down to sub 10. Like, oh my god, why is it lagging so hard?
It's
I'm
really
just in
unfortunate.
goddamn water.
It's really unfortunate because I really like Respawn as like a developer, and it sucks that like they
The
seemingly
optimiz-
really dropped the ball with this one.
Well, the optimization for this is not that great. But granted, though, Amani, I remember playing the first Fallen Order, and even then, I questioned my brother who gave me the copy. Like, is this supposed to run this poorly at times? Because I didn't have the greatest experience even then, because the bugs were
Okay,
still prevalent even then.
it's just that it's more prevalent in this one.
Because it feels more broken, that's all. But I think they still
Okay.
need to just improve on it, working on it, and hopefully it gets better. Let me quickly check on Steam what the reviews for Jedi Survivor is, because I know that was the biggest contention for a while. Steam, why is it $70 on PC, motherfuckers? Mix currently, so it's still
Yeah.
not
Okay.
great.
Not
I
the
would
best.
say, yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Hmm.
I guess. I did have one more thing I remembered is that like I'm modding Elden Ring, so I've had like a weird time doing that. Because Elden Ring, weirdly enough, mods easily, but not mods. It doesn't mod well. It doesn't work well with multiple mods.
Hmm.
Terrible,
Mm-hmm.
actually. With working with multiple mods,
I
but
don't think it was designed for that, you know?
it's
No.
pretty. What's crazy? It's extremely drag and drop. Right, you can just drag and drop to put to mod the game. It's
The
actually like wow,
compatibility
that's
between
super easy.
certain mods have not
Mod
really been the
is
case. Unlike, like,
yeah.
say, anything from Bethesda, where you actually can work the compatibility aspect fairly well, depending on what you're putting in.
I
But
think the number
not,
one thing it needs is a mod manager more than anything else.
that could
I
still
think it
happen.
just needs that.
Hey, we're a podcast. Bring it, put it out there to the world.
Hey yo, somebody make a mod manager for like Elden Ring and all the Dark Souls games. I'm kind of amazed that hasn't been created yet. Actually,
For how long Elden Ring's been out by now? I'm surprised too.
it's been like a year. Like so, yeah. Dark Souls 3 doesn't have one either. I'm pretty sure. I can go check, but I'm
That
pretty
is
sure
an
it
old
doesn't.
ass game. It should have it by now.
And they've cracked that game wide open. Like it's kind of wild, but I'm gonna have to check
Mm-hmm.
for sure. But I don't believe it has a mod manager.
Yeah, but besides the rest of my week, I've not been doing much. Oh yeah, I started reading another webtoons. For myself, it's new because I just picked it up recently. I'm reading a superhero webtoons called Unordinary. I'm more than sure that we probably spoke about it on the
I
podcast
think so
before,
too.
but I just got into it and I'm I'm liking it.
Hmm.
Let's see.
Mhm.
I'll update you on that one. Let's see.
But
Mod manager.
that's
That they might have something. They
oh,
might have something for Dark Souls 3. Not for Elden Ring though, unfortunately.
I imagine not. So,
But I'm looking into it currently.
yeah, but that is essentially my week. For me, go ahead, Paul.
So mine, I started playing this Yu-Gi-Oh game because it was on sale. It was $10. It's Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution. And I'm only up to the Evolution Summons in GX thus far, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's single-player Yu-Gi-Oh with, like, maybe not all the most recent cards for the past, like, 5 years, but, you know, the other 30, 40,000, whatever cards. So I'm okay with that, you know. But besides that, just working on photography, working on myself, living life, and I'm happy to announce, as far as Malazan, I'm actually almost done. I'm 200 pages away from finishing book 3. Book 8. And, yeah, all of us today went to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Mm-hmm.
Pele
How we
picked
missed
me
that.
up, but I almost bailed on going to see it because I wanted to read Malazan, because the swell is happening. So, like, every little bit of where I'm at now is, like, really small chunks. So it'll be, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 sentences, then it breaks. There's like a indent line, so it's like nothing. Then it jumps, so it's like jumping around to different characters or talking about abstract events and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just doop 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 doop, and you can just feel it. It's almost like a Yu-Gi-Oh trap card, right? Just boom, effect, effect, effect,
I
effect.
mean, you were gonna get emotional either way today.
That too, yeah. And I don't know, man. It started, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. So I've heard this is the point, and you can feel it, anyways. But this is the point where the entirety of the 8 books has finally paid off. There is the huge convergence. You end this book, and then you have book 9 and 10, which really is just one big book. So I technically only have one book left, and I've come this far. It's a crazy, crazy thing, and especially thinking back on it all, on the journey and everything, it really has like matured me as a man and as a reader, you know, and which is funny. And I don't want anything else. And I was actually thinking about when I finish, I'm gonna read Brandon Sanderson, this and the other. I don't think I am. I think I'm gonna go into the Esselmont books as well as Erickson's other books in the series, and just I don't know. I'm not ready to leave Malazan. I might change that, you know, whenever I finish, but for now, I'm of a mind that I don't want to leave this world. You know, there's so much here that I love, dude, and I'm getting a little bit of like, is it catharsis? Where I don't know. I'm sad that I'm almost done, but I'm excited too. Um,
Yeah, no, I think
but
it's the catharsis because that's seeing something to completion.
what's up?
I mean, I guess I had
I think,
seeing something to completion because I think that's how I kind of felt. Though I was more confused than anything else, I would say, after reading the original final book of Harry Potter, reading Deathly Hallows for the first time, since I read the whole series as a kid.
Wait, how were you confused? Oh, you were a kid. Never mind.
I was a kid because I wasn't sure if it was like catharsis or just because I couldn't believe it's ended. Because I was like,
Mm.
I don't think the ending was bad. It was clean, I would say. I
Yeah,
I think I was just like
you're
surprised a
just
little
like,
bit.
wow, it's like over.
yeah.
Like,
Something you've been in for so long is over.
And it's over. Yeah, I think that for me, that for so long, getting into that was different because I've done it for so long. Versus movies, it's like the three films done. Because I've seen trilogies a bunch of times. I've seen the original Star Wars that way. So
Mm.
I had the same thing with the Mass Effect trilogy, where because I played through all of them at the same time
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because I had the trilogy, so I didn't. Basically, I didn't have like that moment of like a year between the two, so like I got to go from game to game to game,
Mm-hmm.
and when pulling up on the last bit, I was like, damn, it's like it's really about to be over. Like, cause I played through each game. I'm like, this feels this sucks a little bit, but I'm like happy to be at the ending. But it's like, oh man,
Mm.
like it's really
You weren't
about to
the
be
many
done.
many of my other friends who we played it at launch and we got the original shallow ending where they didn't really do much for it at the
Yeah.
Yeah,
time.
I got the edited ending, which is
I
a
never
bit
beat
better.
it.
Which is I was
Mm-hmm.
fine with that.
I never beat the
Um,
third one. I need to.
and then I got my heart rebroken when they gave us the Citadel DLC afterwards. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, my chest. I feel even more sad than I did before.
I've gotten that same like series death feeling, you know. I got it with Harry Potter. I got it with when I watched all of Inuyasha. I got it when I watched all of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood
Mm.
and Breaking Bad. I mean, it's you know, you spend so much time with things that you
Investing in,
love, and
yeah.
it's just
Mm-hmm.
it's when it's over, it's like, oh wow. Um, but I'm excited. You know what I mean? We're at the swell. I'm finally getting the payoff, and it's crazy too. Is like because I've been writing this down, because I've been memorizing this stuff, I can honestly see why a reread would be even better because then you don't have the anticipation. You know what's going to happen because even just based on memory and grabbing at straws here, and I'm trying to say all this without any kind of spoilers or in-depth discussion. We don't have time for that, but I can see where it paid off. You know what I mean? How he
Mm.
knew from the get-go that he was going to get it done. And another thing I actually liked about Book 8 is, and I won't go in details, I got my own things going on, but Book 8, Steven Eriksson's father died, and then he went to write that book. And you can tell because there's like 300 pages that could arguably be cut out where he kind of rambles and waxes poetic. However, I disagree with getting it cut out because it's just like this giant study on compassion and understanding that it's okay to feel worthless sometimes and to feel powerless, but you must fight on, and you are stronger than you give yourself credit for, and that love and friendship is the most important thing, you know. And it just
Mm.
it's. I remember like I was watching Daniel Green. He's a book YouTuber. He was talking about how at the end of Malazan, it's essentially one or no somebody commented Malazan is one giant character study on compassion, and I can kind of see it because like Animander Rake, and what he's doing it purely for his own reasons that nobody else can understand, carrying a burden nobody else could carry, and he has been for a long time. You have other characters that are just going about for destruction, seeking things they can't have. You have one of my favorite characters dies, and you really feel that weight. Really, he's not as key as other characters, but it doesn't matter. He dies in such a sad way that when vengeance comes, vengeance isn't this big, long, epic chapter of like torture. It just happens and it's over, and then this character breaks down and cries finally, and it's like, damn, dude, like it's like real life, you know. So I love the series. I can't praise it enough. That's really all I've been doing. Besides, well, that's it. Last thing I want to mention is this will be my second to last episode. Next week will be my last episode for a good while. I'll be back on to talk about Malazan once it's finished. But then after that, I don't know. I'll be maybe a guest once in a while because just kind of reached a juncture and a crossroads, and it was like, you know, Paul's busy outside of here. Paul's got to step away for a little while, but I'll definitely be here and there. And you guys, fans, and everybody, you'll see my ripple. And who knows? Maybe one day I'll be back to consistently being around. So it's been fun.
For sure.
Second to last. Yep.
I guess we should probably do like a quick mention of the movie we all saw, because for some reason we just didn't mention that we watched
Guardians 3 was my favorite movie of the MCU. I honestly, I think I can say that. And
it's the best Phase 5 movie so far after, God, how many mediocre Phase 4 films.
It's just a film. It's a good film.
It's a good film overall, yeah.
It's like the perfect goodbye to those characters. It's a perfect goodbye to James Gunn and Marvel. It's perfect goodbye to everybody involved that's stepping away. And then it's a perfect goodbye to what we grew up with from Iron Man 1 all the way through to the end of Endgame, and how now it's hit this paradigm shift and it's just not what it was.
I still say the Endgame is probably like a good stopping point overall because, let's be totally honest, we haven't really gotten that great of products afterwards.
I think you could do Endgame and then do Guardians 3, maybe Black Panther, although that kind
No
of...
Way Home would be fine.
Black Panther is a very good goodbye to...
Yeah, because it stands on its own. And No Way Home.
Well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think if you went with those, you get closure to everything that you liked so far, and then you can kind of just leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Spider-Man, I guess, is on a weird note where it's like...
Well, it requires
walk away from
it requires not just the MCU, but it also requires all previous Spider-Man films.
Yeah. No Way Home is a little strange because it's like... It's just on a weird note. Like,
listen, man.
It's a very unhappy ending, but I feel like you could live with it, knowing that he's going to be like kind of like those guys. You know, I guess.
I think the requirement for No Way Home is maximum viewing of all the other Spider-Man movies. This is true.
Oh, yeah, no,
however,
fan service.
you could watch it dry. You could watch it dry, and you'd still be like, "That was awesome. It's 3 Spider-Mans. These were people's favorites. Cool, you know."
You just know. You're like, okay. Mm-hmm. That's who that is. That's who that is. Done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, but with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, closing note on a bunch of characters for it, I cannot... Now I'm just excited to see what James Gunn brings to the table controlling DC, but because swear to God,
that's actually one of the craziest things.
I'm excited.
For conclusion, obviously it doesn't set up much of anything else, but like the thing it does set up, I guess, in a lot of our heads is the fact that like, like DC with James Gunn is probably in some really good hands.
Oh yeah.
Like they're if this is the stuff he's going to be bringing to the table or like attempting to bring to the table over there, that same kind of quality, like with all from the Guardian movies, then we're probably going to get some really good DC movies, and it's going to be nice to see that.
Go ahead, Billy.
I was gonna say, like, the only thing I'm a little concerned of, let's hope that he's not lying through his teeth that the Flash movie is actually good.
No, apparently a lot of people keep seeing it or saying that the Flash movie is really good. Like,
I think it could. I mean, it's Andy Muschietti, right?
It's not that it can't be good. It's just that
it can't be good. It's just that anything surrounding Ezra Miller makes me concerned.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's like the movie itself can actually be really good. It's just Ezra Miller is the thing that everyone's kind of like, I don't want to support that. Right?
It has currently a 10 out of 10 on IMDb for some fucking reason.
Yeah, because like apparently everyone it's early, but it's like everyone that's had like an early viewing is like, this movie is amazing. And I'm like, okay, we'll see. It's dangerous to overhype something before it comes out because then
very dangerous.
The theory that I wanted to present, that I presented to you guys earlier too, just regarding the James Gunn takeover, is I hypothesize, because he puts story first, he doesn't put other things first, right? Mm-hmm. I think Marvel's going to slip down and lose a lot of their clout. It's going to leave a top spot for a king of comic book films for a little while, and excited to see James Gunn step in and take that. And then even if he's not there, it'll create a nice, healthy competition finally between Marvel and DC with the movies.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I was also going to mention real quick because I looked up the his Wikipedia page for this director. He's also set to do the Attack on Titan movie.
Andy Muschietti?
Yep.
He's good.
Ah.
I didn't like It Chapter 2. However, I appreciated everything he did. He pulled it off, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do a decent job, but like
I
anything
didn't like
live
the
action
book either at that point,
I
actually.
mean live action adaptations of anything, especially animes, has been American wise very
Yeah.
misses, very big misses.
I thought at one
just
point
don't
he
know
was
how
set to
that's gonna
direct the
go.
Shadow of the Colossus movie, but I don't know what they're doing.
That one I still don't know what's going on with that one. But yeah, oh yeah, go ahead, Money though. Money.
One more time.
No, go ahead.
No, you can go.
You were
You were
I
about to say
interrupted you.
something.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't. I don't remember what the thought was, to be honest.
Okay.
I was like, I think
My
you're
bad.
good.
Yeah, but
As a
he's
put-
doing that. He's hoping the Flash movie's good. I know it's probably going to just act as more setup for the next round of DC films because I think it's just this, Aquaman, and Blue Beetle, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard Aquaman 2 is god awful though.
I mean, to
I'm
be
just
fair, the
excited
first
for Blue
Aquaman
Beetle.
wasn't great either. It was very cheesy and schlocky, but it made a lot of money, so that's why they're doing a sequel.
Well,
I'll-
it's because people liked it. Like it was.
Yeah.
It was like cheesy. Sure, it was cheesy, slocky, but like it was like the best. One of the best things that people had talked about.
It was
out
like
of
watching
the
an episode,
DCU.
a giant episode of Power Rangers. I thought.
Yeah, I can see that. Honestly, it was fun. Wasn't deep, but it was fun for sure. Cool changes. Here's hoping that Aquaman 2 is actually good and Jason Momoa carries it. Here's also hoping he carries the villain with the next Fast X movie. I don't care.
That is
I just
happening.
don't know how that series is going still.
Two
Like,
more
Fast
down
Seven-
Because
the
family,
pipe.
bro.
It's all about family. Two
Yeah, but
more
like-
fucking
Like
coming down the
Fast
pipeline.
5, it was like this
Jesus
epic
Christ.
heist, and it was like, wow, that's really cool. The next movie should be like that. And then Fast 6 comes out, and it's starting to move into the superhero direction. It just doesn't fit. I didn't like Fast 6. I didn't finish Fast 6. And then I heard Fast 7 is like a send off. It's like, why not end it there? Money.
Yeah. Oh, this is my
And
usually about money.
Fast 8 or whatever.
I was actually
going
going
to
to mention. I think
I
I was actually going to mention. I think most villains so far has actually ended up on the team. So like it's just
Yeah.
gonna. So Jason Momoa just gonna probably because cliche.
How do you
he's
make
gonna.
12 movies all the freaking same? Fast 6 onwards, you know? Like,
They're still making two more. Like if it makes money,
yeah,
they're
no,
gonna
this,
keep going.
This
I
one's
just
supposed to be the
don't
last
know.
one, but it's supposed to be like a two-parter, right?
It's
Yeah.
gonna be a it's gonna be a trilogy now.
Three-parter.
So this
You know
one
what?
is the first of a trilogy.
you know what got me, or like my cutoff point was, because I haven't seen Fast 7 yet, was I think it was the trailer for Fast 8 where you see them driving on ice and there's a submarine. And I was
Submarine.
like, that's dumb. And then you get to Fast 9 and Dom like drives off a cliff and uses a vine to
Vine.
swing his car. I was like,
Yeah, we
I'm
talked about
clocked
that on
out
the
at
first-
this point. I'm
on
I
the
no, I
podcast,
clocked
what the
out at
hell?
8 as well because Fate of the Furious. Like what?
just
What?
end it. I know you're making money, but that's where you could do side stories with just each actor, like
No,
three
the
of
funny
y'all.
thing
We're
is that
going
when
in
they lead
space
heavy
now.
into sci-fi superhero shit with Hobbs and Shaw, I actually enjoyed that.
Oh yeah.
I never finished it,
apparently
but I
it's
like
pretty fun.
what I saw of it.
Yeah, that was fun. I
Black
wish they did
Superman.
more of that.
With Idris Elba. That was
I was,
fun.
like I'm Black Superman. And, like you are great as a villain, man. I love you.
So I'm like,
I like
I'm
Idris
down.
Yeah,
Did y'all ever see Beast of New Nation?
I have.
Yes, actually, that was really great.
I got
He was-
that
he was
on.
really good in that,
I
too.
had that on Criterion Blu-ray pre-ordered because one day I thought about it. I was like, it'll never be on Blu-ray, and then I just happened to go to Criterion to look for another movie, and it was on the first page. Love that
good
movie,
use of
phenomenal. Idris Elba kills it in that, man. He
Yeah,
is
he
a
does.
perfect, just villain that loses everything and just wallows in his own pity. Oh God, great movie.
He's a-
Sad
he's a-
movie.
It's that movie.
Truly.
Great performance and great actor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I guess we should mention it's like some news along with it here. I wanted to bring up this from the last podcast, but I wasn't able to do it then because I was too busy. But this is just a fun development point. So for the people who are interested in Hololive stuff, so a short explanation: Hololive is a company that pretty much funds and promotes anime VTuber girls from both Japan, Indonesia, and England. Some of the bigger ones are named by Gargura, Korone, Fubuki, and just to name a few. The reason why I'm bringing this up because the fan game made from promoted from Hololive, Idol Showdown, which is a fighting game with a bunch of Hololive VTuber characters. Two VTuber streamers were trying to play it at the same time, trying to set up a private lobby. They were having issues. The developers were watching the said stream and said, "We got you," and made a hotfix midstream.
Oh
It's
wow.
still super interesting. I
Like
think
that is
it's
cool.
unique.
That is very cool.
Way to outdo every AAA developer ever.
They
In their
fixed the
defense, their
fucking
games are
game
bigger.
as the stream was happening. Like, god
They're like, oh snap, that's a bug. Say less, we got you.
Oh man, like that was so cool. Like, oh my god, from the development standpoint, like that is the biggest flex I've ever seen in development ever.
They added private lobbies. They was like, you know what?
Like I said, remember, AAA, more moving parts. You know, I
Oh,
can
for
understand
sure,
it,
for
but
sure,
at the
but,
same
you know,
time, it's a
pointers.
nice flex. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
definitely
just
not
the
flex.
idea of looking at it being like, see, that is a problem. Done. Like, it is fixed. Like, it's like, wow, okay. Because I know that they have to go through like an approval process and all this other stuff to make sure it doesn't just fall apart. But at the same time, it's like there are games that like have a dedicated team that is meant for fixing stuff like this.
Oh no,
Yeah.
they fired the most of them. Don't you remember, Monty?
Which one?
Like,
Which game?
EA has fired most of their Q&A staffs.
wow.
Well,
Well,
that's
I mean,
probably 'cause
to be
of
fair,
that.
QA
Well,
is
yeah.
not
So
QA is
yeah,
not for fixing. They're for finding the bugs and then you.
I
Send
know,
it
but if
back
they
to
don't
the
have the
team
staff to
fix.
find the problem in the
But
first
if they don't,
place,
yeah, if they don't have the staff to find them, I don't know how you're supposed to fix bugs.
oh no,
Battlefield
Amani, no, that's the thing.
2042
We're the
is
QA staff
launching.
now.
That's stupid.
Hey, the beta, that terrible beta, that's a 5-month-old beta, guys. 2042 is going to be lit, and you're going to love it.
Watch it be worse than anything we've played.
No bugs. Our bug team scoured it for bugs. No bugs. It's like the Trump of video games.
What
I
bug
swear.
team? You don't have a bug team.
I guess one more thing that we'll mention because before we get out of here, because it's about that time. We'll mention the fact that Game Freak has decided to announce that they are making an ambitious samurai project called Project Bloom. It looks kind of cool. All we have is a screenshot. I'm interested to see what Game Freak decides to make that's not Pokemon. As we were looking through it on this one, it turns out that they've made a bunch of other little side projects along the way,
Yeah.
but not a ton.
Yeah, not a whole ton. Game Freak is not owned by Nintendo, thank God. But so they can do some independent stuff. They just kind of been under Nintendo's thumb with Pokemon for a long ass time now, though.
They make a lot of money with it, so they just. The fact that they're not actually owned by Nintendo is really weird because they could just branch out and have Pokemon be on more things, but you know,
Nintendo's not going to let that. Nintendo's never going to let that happen because the last time they tried, not Pokemon specifically, but like Nintendo owned products on different hardware.
That just not happened. That did not happen. Does Nintendo like officially own Pokemon though?
They own the brand
do
of
they
IP
own
of
the-
Pokemon, but Game Freak
Okay.
is the sole developer of Pokemon. Actually, no, I'm wrong because I know there's Niantic did Pokemon Go, so that's another.
Well, that's different, but yeah.
That's my point. But yeah, let's see here. Pokemon developers real fast because I know there's other people have worked on it at the time. Developers. Let's see. Game Freak is the primary one. Yep, primary sole developer, 169 employees. Huh. Surprisingly small for such a big IP.
All right.
Yeah, Game Freak is like a sole proprietor, so I think every Pokemon game that comes through the Pipeworks has to go through Game Freak.
Yeah. And
Which,
so, of that 169, how many are working on fixing the 3D one that doesn't? All the 3D ones that don't work, and how many?
probably not a lot because I got to work on the other Pokemon games that are currently in existence or planning to be out in existence because they do a lot
You
of
would
spin.
think they'd
Well,
be
actually,
a bigger team at this point, but you know.
you would think, but 169 seems a bit low for such a massive franchise.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You think that they have like I don't think they'd be Ubisoft size, but you know at least one of their massive studios.
A couple
would be, like,
hundred,
the
I would
building.
say at the
Yeah.
very least, but not 169. Like, huh? That seems low.
I say not Ubisoft size, but it's like it's Pokemon. It definitely sounds well enough that they could be Ubisoft size. They could just like have a studio designated to like creating the assets for Pokemon that's used further around and creating different Pokemon, and
If
then
anything,
people who are on the actual map development side. You know, it's a little weird. It feels like they should just have more. Honestly,
They
in
honestly
general.
do. Well, I think it's more than obvious it need more because Scarlet and Violet did not come out in a clean fashion.
Not the best state.
Ironically enough, because we mentioned this multiple times, it's like, how is this game broken on the one console you're developing for?
It's the only thing. It's the only thing you're developing for. How does it
Like,
come out busted?
yeah, it just makes no sense. But anyway, we'll call it here.
Yeah.
Anything
That's
else you
gonna
guys want
be
to bring
it,
up?
guys. Nah. We're gonna call it here. You guys have a wonderful night to everyone out there, or
Indeed.
day, or whenever you are currently playing it. Because, like we said, we're on a time crunch on this one. So, let's do the normal thing that we usually do, which is, hey, we appreciate you guys and for everything that you do. Please, by all means, go tell people about the show. Word of mouth is the way to do it. So, by all means, we love you guys, and that's the number one thing to do. But if you have any questions, hit us up at paperplayaction@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Twitter at paper_action. Or if you want to, you can follow us on YouTube as well, where there are podcast episodes there as well that Paul has painstakingly worked on. So, besides that, if you feel the need, you could always hit up our Patreon and donate to us, or our Koji, which is our other tip jar thing if you don't need to actually subscribe. And besides that, we will see you guys later. Peace.
Peace, guys.
Have a good one, guys.